A leaked police memo indicates that officers in Oakland, California were advised to avoid giving parking tickets to people who live in wealthy areas, but continue giving parking tickets to those who live in poorer areas. To be specific, those who lived in Montclair and Broadway Terrace would get a courtesy warning if they were parked illegally. However, everyone else who lived in a poorer neighborhood was not given a courtesy notice. They were given a ticket.
Now, when I started reading this story, I thought, oh, this can't be true. This is terrible, right? But it turns out, no, absolutely. There's parking officers who are rebelling, saying, hey, wait a minute. I mean, this is going to hit blacks and Latinos and minority areas a lot more in Oakland because you're totally omitting, the higher end places, and you're hitting the areas where there are more minorities that live. The other thing that enrages me is, so the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
Yes, absolutely. Look, this is the never-ending story in the United States. We see this story over and over again, and this irritates me beyond belief. And look, there's another part of this story that's very irritating. It talks about the economic downturn and what San Francisco decided to do to combat this issue, okay? They decided, okay, we need revenue, we're desperate for revenue, so what we're going to do is we are going to increase parking fines, meter rates, hours of enforcement, and enforcement in neighborhoods. So basically, let's try to give out as many tickets as we can to help this issue that we're having with the economy.
Except, who are those tickets going to hit? They're going to hit the same people that are having troubles because of the bad economy.
Right.
And if that weren't bad enough in general, they specifically say, leave the rich people alone. Only hit the poor people who are suffering the most and raise money from them. I mean, look, that's the underlying problem in the country. I mean, this is a fascinating example of it for parking tickets in Oakland. But that's the problem. I mean, to the point, it also drives me crazy that it says courtesy notices for the rich people. They're like, oh, yes, well, you've parked illegally. Obviously, you don't have to pay a fine. You're rich. You already have money. No, we wouldn't, of course, take, but let us give you a courtesy notice. If you live in a poor or middle-class neighborhood, when's the last time they gave you a courtesy notice? Right? No, they give you a ticket and then say, all right, now you pay it, and we're going to run the government based on the revenue we raise off the poorest and also the middle-class people in that particular city. And it happens all throughout the country. I mean, look at what happened with the banks, right? They took money from us, the taxpayers, and gave it to the richest guys in the country, who are the ones that caused the crash in the first place. So,
and by the way,
it's enraging.
And we're complaining about our $50, $55 parking tickets. These parking tickets that these people have to pay are insane, okay? They range between $40 to $100.
And here's the other part. Apparently, this was not being enforced all throughout, right, in Oakland. So, for example, they'd park on the sidewalk, but then some of the streets are so narrow, the emergency vehicles can't get past if you don't park on the sidewalk. And they'd never gotten a ticket for that. All of a sudden, they're like, all right, time to raise money from the poor. Go ticket all of them for things that they've always done, okay? And so then they get hit with things they couldn't have possibly expected for doing the same thing that they used to do before. And the final problem with this, among many, is that you see that, of course, the police do and the government does selective enforcement. You know, if you're already powerful and connected, all of a sudden the laws don't quite apply to you. They don't get enforced as much. If you're not, well, it's easy to crush you, so we're going to enforce the laws on you. This is exactly what's wrong with the country. And in a democracy, we shouldn't accept this in any way, shape, or form. Everybody responsible for this should get their ass thrown out of office and never reelected.
Right.
Now, the problem is, of course, the people with the money are the ones that finance their campaigns, and et cetera. So, look, if you're in Oakland, you got to wise up, man, and you got to figure out who these people are, and you got to kick them out of office. It's not even an open question.